Today I am discussing themes in French Romanticism. Um, it's funny that I'm really drawn to French Romantic artworks, specifically Delacroix, because a lot of the works are, I think, more gruesome than I originally took in at a glance. So that is definitely something that stands out as a unifying theme in subject matter. Is there's a really strong reference to gruesome scenes, the macabre, anything that's eliciting a strong emotional response. And a lot of times where we saw with German Romanticism, that was more the sublime is a little bit more spiritually referenced. This emotion is more connected to those darker emotions. There's some interesting aesthetic themes that I noticed in terms of the use of color and brushwork. So I put a couple of examples of works we saw in the lecture to show. Of course, all of these are the same artist, so they are going to share a lot of similarity in terms of Delacroix's use of that more loose brush work, more painterly approach. But I just think his use of color is really, really amazing, especially in like Lady Liberty leading the people here. And yeah, all of these scenes, they have references to sort of academic trained artistic technical skill in composition or in depicting bodies and figures in a lifelike way, but they all depart from that in their own ways as well. It's also interesting how we have a lot of scenes of history painting where all of these are kind of a version of history painting, looking at, well, this is from Dante's book, and then the massacre of Chios from the Greek War for Independence, and then of course Lady Liberty, in that new revolution against the Bourbon. I don't know. So they're all scenes referencing like a historical moment, or I guess Dante's version of the narrative. But they're not doing what neoclassic artwork did in putting a like moral or the exempla virtuitus. Lady Liberty, to a sense, does have that more uplifting moral, of course, but there's also that macabre, unfortunately cropped out in this version from Smart History, foreground of the dead bodies. So it's, yeah. So I find that to be an interesting, almost a semi theme of having neoclassic, traditional art practices, but with a twist, right? So we're inverting the pyramid, we're using some similar composition, balance, but we are reinventing the imagination there. So the work that I've chosen to focus on is another Delacroix because I really like his artwork. This one struck me as I was flipping through one of my textbook. Well, it's not a textbook. It's a book I have in my library at school. And flipping through, I instantly was like, who is this woman? Wow, what a powerful message or question that she's evoking. And so I watched the video on Smart History, and that is something I really liked that they referenced was how her questioning pose. So this is Greece on the ruins of Missolonghi, similar to the scene of the massacre at Chios. It is referencing the war of the Greeks against their oppressors, which were the was the Ottoman Empire. I think it's really interesting to view this also in terms of understanding that this is like a very not a very subjective view of this history, right? So this is a personification of Greece, which is similar to the Lady Liberty, as she serves as the personification of liberty in France as they're leading this revolution. So she is personifying Greece, but she's not only personifying Greece, she's standing for the civilization, the Western civilization, which Greece is built upon. There's so much talk and reverence for work that comes from antiquity, from ancient, like Greco-Roman tradition. And as the Greeks are facing these uh, threatening oppressors of the Ottomans, this is viewed as an attack on such a foundational cultural element for those artists of Western Europe. Um, so that is really the spirit of this painting, is representing that Western culture under attack. And this woman is really in the forefront of this image, this personification. I really like her stance, how she has this like strength about her and the way her shoulders are held. Um, yeah. So some of the questions they posed in the video I watched, I think really capture the scene well, which is, why did we allow this to happen? Look how easily cultures can be destroyed by a war. Where is Europe? Where are our allies? Who is coming to our aid? Um, so, really posing these powerful questions. It's inserting the artist's point of view in a very obvious way as to how he feels about the conflict. And it also is referencing those themes of still having some really gruesome details, like this arm jutting forward, just sticking out from the rocks. We have severed heads detailed in here, somewhere hidden. And that gruesome element is still very present in this scene of a beautiful woman who is standing with power in question and personifying a important fight that this artist is strongly in support of raising these questions about. Besides that, also to refer back to the themes, again, we see that loose brushwork. You can see that a lot in the sky, the way that the rocks are detailed, and it's a lot more painterly. There's not that super fine, like stark line. There's a strong use of color all throughout. I really, really like the colors used in her coat and how the light is shown in those creases. The contrast of her bright wardrobe versus the enemy's darker wardrobe is really interesting. And this, I think, is really in line with the French Romantic style. So, yeah, I really love this work, and I wish I could see it in person. So that is what I have for the themes of French Romanticism. Here's my source, good old Smart History. And thank you.